Hello, this is me, Dr. Sunil Garg, on behalf of Essentials of Acute Care and Saving Lives, an educational hub for all those who are interested in critical care. Today I am going to discuss about antibiotic selection in acute care, part 1, where we will discuss about different definitions and terminologies. Here we will understand what is the difference between infection and sepsis. While infection is a prerequisite for sepsis to occur, not all infection converts into sepsis. So, what is sepsis? Sepsis is the life-threatening organ dysfunction and it occurs in response to the inappropriate or dysregulated host response. Infection is most commonly caused by bacteria, but other microbial organisms, which includes fungi, viruses, and parasites, can also be involved. Common location for the primary infection includes lungs, brain, urinary tract, skin, and abdominal organs. And common signs symptoms includes fever, tachycardia, tachypnea, and the confusion. Symptoms due to specific infection may be present, like in the case of lung infection, cough may be present, and in case of kidney infection, there may be painful urination. Risk factor for the sepsis includes young or the old age, presence of cancer, diabetes, major trauma, or burns. In very young, old, and the people with the weakened immune system or immunosuppressed patient, there may be no symptoms of a specific infection, like in the case of lung infection, cough may be absent, and the body temperature may be low or normal rather than the high. Early identification and appropriate management in the initial hour of the sepsis improves outcome like what exactly happens in acute myocardial infarction, stroke and polytrauma where time matters. So in sepsis, host immune response becomes out of balance, means host immune response is not appropriate, either it is over responsive or under responsive, which triggers changes that can damage multiple organ systems. So, in summary, sepsis is an infection which is complicated by the potentially life threatening organ dysfunction, and this potentially life threatening organ dysfunction occurs because of dysregulated systemic inflammatory and immune response to microbial invasion. Onset of sepsis is marked by the beginning of any organ dysfunction remote from the site of infection. It means in the case of pneumonia or the lung infection, there may be renal dysfunction. The diagnosis of sepsis is primarily clinical diagnosis, which is combined with the culture result showing infection. Septic shock is a sepsis which is requiring vasopressor therapy to maintain a mean arterial pressure more than 65 and increase plasma lactate level of more than 2 millimole per liter. Do we need to treat all positive cultures with antibiotics in critically ill patients? Before deciding upon antibiotic therapy in cases of positive cultures, we need to understand different terminologies associated with it. Infection is the presence of microorganism causing damage to body tissue, usually in the presence of acute inflammation, and this is when you need to treat with antibiotic. Colonization describes when bacteria grow on body surface without causing an infection, like if the patient has endotracheal tube, there is colonization of endotracheal tube with bacteria. If the patient has urinary catheter, there may be colonization of urinary catheter with bacteria. Colonization does not harm the patient and does not need treating with the antibiotics, but remember, colonization may convert into an infection. Contamination is when microorganism has been introduced into the microbiology sample from an external source, usually due to poor sampling, and definitely these patients do not need treatment with antibiotics. What are the different variables which affects the patient outcome regarding antibiotic use in critically ill patients? Here antibiotic should be given early and it has seen that each hour delay in administration of the appropriate antibiotic is associated with a measurable increase in mortality. So, what is the meaning of early here? It means it should be given as soon as possible and preferably within 1 hour of sepsis diagnosis. It should be given adequately, and adequately means the dosing should be optimum and it should be full, high, and loading dose of each agent used. And it has seen that failure to achieve peak plasma target on initial dosing for aminoglycoside and fluoroquinolones, trough concentration for vancomycin, and concentration more than pathogen MIC for longer duration in case of beta-lactam are responsible for clinical and microbiological failure. It should be given appropriately, and appropriately means offending pathogen should be covered by the empiric regime. It has seen that survival may decrease as much as fivefold for septic shock treated with an empiric regime that fails to cover the offending pathogen. And this is a reason that empiric regime should err on the side of over-inclusiveness, and multiple drug therapy is often given to ensure a sufficiently broad spectrum of empiric coverage initially. Although the restriction of antimicrobial is an important strategy for antibiotic stewardship program, both for both the development of pathogen resistance and the cost, but this strategy is not for the initial management of sepsis and septic shock patient. Now we will understand different terminologies associated with the use of antibiotics. Initial therapy is usually empiric in case of sepsis and septic shock, which is given in the absence of definitive pathogen identification. Empiric therapy is usually broad spectrum therapy, and empiric therapy can be monotherapy, combination therapy, or multi-drug therapy. Another kind of therapy is targeted or definitive therapy. As the name suggests, it is targeted to a specific pathogen, usually after identification of it. Targeted therapy can be monotherapy or combination therapy, and it is not broad spectrum therapy. Another type of therapy is broad spectrum therapy, and it is usually given during empiric therapy. It consists of one or more antimicrobial agent, and the intention of broad spectrum therapy is to broaden the range of potential pathogens covered. For example, if you are giving beta-lactam agent in combination with vancomycin and echinocandins, it is covering the whole range of potential pathogens, and it will fall under the category of broad spectrum therapy. Another kind of therapy is combination therapy. It consists of multiple antibiotics, usually of different classes, and it is given for known or suspected pathogen. Pathogen is expected to be sensitive to all antibiotics, and the aim is to accelerate pathogen clearance. It is not given for broadening the antimicrobial coverage as opposed to broad spectrum antibiotics. For example, if you are giving piperacillin tazobactam or any other beta-lactam in combination with fluoroquinolones or aminoglycosides. Another terminology used is multi-drug therapy, where multiple antimicrobials are given. There are two types of multi-drug therapy. One is empiric therapy, and it is given to broaden the coverage when the pathogen is unknown, as we discussed earlier. Another type of multi-drug therapy is a combination therapy, and it is given to potentially accelerate the pathogen clearance when the pathogen is known or suspected. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you like this video. If you have any feedback, suggestion or comments, please write down in the comment section box. Once again, thanks for watching the video.